Coming up tonight on CTV News, a young girl is dead after a triple shooting overnight in Landover. Plus, Governor Moore continues to address his top priorities in the state. And longtime county employee says farewell.
When I came primarily, I was writing press releases. It was enhancing the image, the public image of the council.
Those stories and more tonight.
Good evening. This is CTV News for February 29th. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Mariah Jalad. Thanks for joining us. 2 people are dead and another is injured in a murder-suicide in a Landover home Wednesday night. Officers responded to a residence in the 6900 block of Stansbury Lane, where they found a man, 38-year-old Curtis Lynch, and a girl, 10-year-old Malin Turks, suffering from gunshot wounds. They were pronounced dead at the scene. An adult female was also shot and is in critical but stable condition. Police say preliminary investigation shows Lynch shot both victims before turning the gun on himself. The adult female is related to both suspect and victim. The investigation is ongoing.
And Prince George's police arrest 3 suspects in connection with the murder of a Duval High School student. The suspects have been ID'd as 18-year-old Ramon Richardson, 18-year-old Cameron Avenue, and a 17-year-old boy. All have been charged with fatally shooting 16-year-old Jada Moore back in September of last year. As you reported earlier, the teenager was fatally shot when she stepped in to defuse the dispute between 2 groups. The suspects face murder charges. And legislation that will require emergency evaluations and involuntary admissions for those with severe mental health issues passes the State House this morning. Delegate Jocelyn Peña-Melnyk says House Bill 576 will also require each county to establish an assisted outpatient program treatment program.
There are frequent people that come to the court and to the hospitals and are not taking their medication, are not in treatment. This would allow them to enter into a program voluntarily and to have court supervision. It's an amazing bill. It will help so many people so they don't end up on the streets homeless or dying early.
The measure has been cross-filed in the Senate.
Angela Also Brooks hosts a roundtable to discuss recent news affecting IVF treatments. The Alabama Supreme Court recently ruled that embryos created through IVF be considered children, and anyone could be sued for destroying the frozen embryos. A Republican senator also voted to block a federal bill protecting IVF today.
There is no question that every attempt we have seen on the part of this Republican Party, which I might say is so evil, has everything to do with controlling women and controlling a woman's body. There is no circumstance under which any of these discussions should happen outside of a woman, her doctor, and her family members. This should not be decided by the government, certainly should not be decided by elected officials in Washington. This is a decision that belongs squarely with the woman, with her doctor, and with her family.
And when courts start to make decisions, as they've made in Alabama, it really reduces the opportunity for people and families that may struggle with fertility to expand their families. And it seems like we would want to have, many more loved children. And what you know about families like mine is that our child is obviously wanted.
Several clinics in Alabama have paused IVF treatment in the aftermath of the Supreme Court ruling. Governor Wes Moore's administration will have to make up for a $236 million Medicaid shortfall caused by technical errors and faulty projections. This further stresses an already tight state budget. The Department of Budget and Management may have to draw from the state's rainy day fund or propose a supplemental budget that makes cuts from another government program to make up the Medicaid costs. The error should not affect the state's federal Medicaid funding.
And the Maryland Attorney General's office releases body cam footage of a fatal officer-involved shooting in New Carrollton that left a Suitland man dead. New Carrollton police were on patrol on January 30th at around 4:30 in the morning when they saw a disabled SUV on the 7500 block of Annapolis Road. Investigators say the vehicle had been carjacked. Police say 28-year-old Artel Cunningham approached them with 2 handguns. 2 officers discharged their weapons, striking Cunningham, who died in an area hospital later. The AG's office continues to investigate that incident.
Last week, Senate President Bill Ferguson called out the Maryland judiciary for avoiding responsibility with its pretrial home detention monitoring program. The program recently ran out of federal funds for the private service that was used during the pandemic. When the funding dried up, about 650 people in home detention were in danger of being reincarcerated. Continuing the program through the end of fiscal year 2024 will cost about $1.7 million. According to the Daily Record, Ferguson says he's now confident that the judiciary will cover the program until the legislature can make up costs.
And state police need your help in finding a missing woman. Police say 54-year-old Laura Sherlew has been missing since February 5th. Her car, a 2007 Nissan Altima, was found abandoned on Lashner Lane in Greenbelt 3 days later. Police searched the nearby Buddy Attic Park. The woman is 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighs about 155 pounds, with brown hair and eyes. Anyone with information as to whereabouts is asked to call police at 410-758-1101. And you're watching CTV News.
We'll be right back with more right after the break.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Oh, there's so much they hold.
It's hard to imagine that this powerful, beautiful animal needs our help. But they are being killed for their skin and bones, and their homes are being destroyed. But there is hope. Tigers are at the heart of so many delicate ecosystems. When you protect a tiger, you also protect thousands of species and people that rely on the same habitat. That means protecting everything from mangroves that help fight climate change to safeguarding rivers and streams that provide fresh water to millions. All places that the tiger calls home.
Well, I won't give up. God knows I'm tough. He knows we got a lot to learn.
When we protect tigers, we all benefit. Learn how you can make a difference. Visit worldwildlife.org/tigers.
Welcome back. Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell announced he would be stepping down from his role as Republican Senate leader. McConnell is the longest-serving Senate leader in history, holding power through major changes in the GOP through the last 2 decades. Senate candidate and Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks made a statement in response to the news, recalling moments from McConnell's career. Eliminating Roe and making it harder for women to access abortions, putting IVF at risk, leaving Trump off the hook at every possible opportunity, and for his last act, recruiting Larry Hogan to be another vote for Trump's Republican Party. That is the legacy Mitch McConnell leaves behind, said Alsobrooks in a statement. McConnell will be stepping down as leader this fall, but plans to serve the rest of his Senate term, which ends in 2027.
And lawmakers in Annapolis are considering changes in the way vacancies are filled in the General Assembly on a proposed constitutional amendment. Currently, a fourth of the state's lawmakers were initially appointed, not elected to their seats. As it stands now, central committees make a selection and the governor makes the appointment. The proposal calls for special elections. If approved, the measure will be on the ballot this fall. And Governor Wes Moore continues to push his top priority, which focuses on ending child poverty across Maryland. The governor testifying during a House hearing yesterday in support of the Enough Act. If passed, the measure would provide $500,000 in grants to communities with at least 20% of its children living in poverty. The bill appears to have bipartisan support. However, the Moore administration is dealing with a budget shortfall.
Together, we are going to target the places most in need of help, and we are going to uplift those communities in partnership, because we believe that to fully address the challenge of poverty, you need to actually engage the people on the ground. And that goes from urban cities to rural towns and to everywhere in between. It means we need to be everywhere, and it means we need to look everywhere.
A hearing on the Senate version of the bill is set for tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
Legislative leaders are changing what offenses count as juvenile crimes in Maryland. 2 General Assembly committees are also looking at the age range for those who can be kept in custody and what rehabilitative services are available for youth offenders. Both House and Senate committees removed firearm-related offenses such as false applications or straw purchases from the measures. Animal cruelty was taken out of the Senate version but remains in the House bill. HB 814 passed a second reading with amendments yesterday in the House chamber. The measure is cross-filed in the Senate. Well, the 5th suspect arrested in the Langley Park shooting that killed a 2-year-old child is in the U.S. illegally and had prior detainments, according to immigration authorities. Nilson Granados Trejo was recently arrested for charges related to the February 8th shooting. ICE ordered him deported in 2022, but he was released twice by Montgomery County Corrections officials. The county has a policy of cooperation with ICE only when the subjects of detainers commit serious crimes. And the Maryland State Department of Education will start administering a new kindergarten readiness assessment, or KRA. An independent analysis found that the current assessment has potential bias against bilingual or multilingual learners. Maryland law prohibits any form of racial or cultural bias in assessments. The KRA measures language and literacy, mathematics, social foundations, among other skills. The results of the assessment are expected to be released on March 6th. And who will be representing Prince George's County in the Scripps National Spelling Bee? 5th through 8th graders will compete in a spell-off tomorrow night at the Clarice Smith Performing Arts Center. The winner will be named at the end of the event and will advance to compete in Bee Week 2024 this spring at the National Harbor. The event is free and open to the public. Still to come on CTV News.
Here what significance the YMCA on 14th and U Street holds in the Black community.
All that and more coming up.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. The moment I chose hope was when I couldn't look myself in the mirror anymore. I did not recognize myself. When you're in that moment, you don't know what to do, and you are grappling with your own internalized stigma and your own experience. Hope has to be loud to cut through your fears. Yeah. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. Absolutely. So I'm so proud because I did not think I was gonna make it. And now, you know, I get to call my mom and say I love her. I get to teach my son how to say, Mama, I love you. Yeah. So for me, hope in this moment, it's everything, all the colors in between. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay. Judy.
I am an athlete.
I am an educator.
I'm an EMT, a neurologist, a veteran,
a business owner.
I'm a mom.
We are survivors.
Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women and doesn't discriminate.
It can affect any woman at any age or stage.
Yet many women don't know it's our greatest health threat.
Encourage 3 women you love to learn more about their risk factors and how they can take charge of their health today.
Welcome back. For decades, Karen Campbell has worked behind the scenes of County Council, making sure the Council's public relations arm runs smoothly. Well, after many, many years, she's retiring.
These people here have become my friends and my family. Legislative branch is a family.
That family includes the many people who worked in conjunction with Prince George's County Council over the decades.
From the council to the staff to the administrators to the security guards to the people who come and clean our offices. They're all very critical.
This is Karen Campbell, and today is her last day on the job. After 30 years, she's retiring.
30 years, 30 councils, 5 council administrators, serving jointly with 5 county executive administrations from Glendenning to now County Executive also Brooks. 30 years.
Campbell, who spent 17 years with WHUR, Howard University Radio, including time on air, started with Prince George's as a press and public relations officer in 1994.
It was writing press releases. It was enhancing the image, the public image of the council, to really kind of put them on the map in terms of what their message was, what their priorities were. Much like what it is today, just didn't have all the tools that we have today.
In the early 2000s, the county expanded the office and named Campbell Director, Office of Communications.
I like being part of history. When I came here in '94, you'll remember that was the year that Wayne Curry. I came in March, and in November, the county elected its first black county executive.
And she's a quiet storm. She gets it done and you don't even know she's done it.
One of those council members she worked with was at-large member Calvin Hawkins.
The absence of all that she brings every day, each council member and staff and even the public that deals with the Office of Communications will understand the treasured person that is no longer a part of our team.
Over her years on the job, Campbell has seen a lot of changes in the county.
Demographically, it's changed. We don't look the same, you know, just like our nation, our world doesn't look the same as it did in 1994.
As for what's next, Campbell says some rest is in order and spending time with family.
And if I can add one more thing, nothing that we have done by ourselves. Not me, not any of us. We don't operate in a silo in this office. While all of us may have specific skills, we make sure that we integrate our tools, we integrate our talents on behalf of this council and the residents.
With Karen Campbell, Byron Scott,
the
CTV
only thing
News.
that I
As we wrap up Black History Month, CTV Sports highlights a local YMCA.
Due to segregation, it was difficult for African Americans to find a place to develop their physical skills. Until one man, Anthony Bowen, founded the first YMCA to be open to African Americans in the world. The facility is still around to this day and is located in D.C. And I got the chance to speak to the executive director of it, Diane Tate, about the history of this iconic place.
So Anthony Bowen was the founder of the first YMCA. Let me just back up and tell you a little bit about Anthony Bowen. He was born in 1809 in Prince George's County, actually. And he was a slave, and he bought his freedom for $425 and stayed on at the plantation and kept working as a laborer, bricklayer, to buy the freedom for his wife. Once he bought his wife's freedom, they then moved to Washington, D.C., where he worked and saw a need. I mean, he was an incredible activist in the Washington, D.C. area, and he saw a need for a place, a safe place for African Americans to gather. And he founded the first YMCA in 1853.
Although the Y was founded in 1853, the first facility, which was originally on 12th Street, wasn't opened until years later, thanks in part to a grant of $25,000 given by former Sears and Roebuck owner Julius Rosenwald. And prior to the first facility opening, African Americans met anywhere they could to better themselves.
Now back then, they didn't have a set space. The white YMCA, they were not welcome. They weren't embraced. And they met in basements, they met in churches, wherever they could, they gathered. For many years, I believe it was over 40 years, before he was able to open the 12th Street YMCA in 1912.
Tate also touched on some people throughout history that the Y had an impact on.
So many heroes passed through the YMCA, so many. Langston Hughes rented a room there and wrote his first book of poetry at the YMCA. Marcus Garvey did several presentations there. And, you know, Charles Drew, Dr. Charles Drew, grew up in the YMCA as a kid.
But after 70 years at the 12th Street location, the facility moved a couple of blocks away to its current location of West Street to better suit the needs of the community. The facility then reopened in 2013, and Tate, who designed it, explained how it has a whole new look and feel.
I mean, it's a brand new facility, state-of-the-art facility. So it's really, you know, celebrating the iconic legacy of Anthony Bowen, but it's moved us into the 21st century. You know, we added the kitchen, the cooking kitchen. We have a 6,000 square foot wellness facility. We still have our childcare facility and the pool. The community loves the pool. We also have really like expanded our tentacles into the community. So we also deliver a lot of programming outside the walls here. So we work within the schools in the community and bring them here for additional programming. And we have partnerships with DC government, and that, you know, we have grants that we can provide additional programming here. We have the Fit and Well program where we serve the seniors in the community too.
Tate also shared how the YMCA is not only a place to grow physically, but intellectually as well.
So it's also a place to learn. You know, it's safe space to thrive in. So it's you have heroes that you can come, you have role models, there's mentorship happening at the YMCA also. And, you know, we hold financial literacy classes also. So it's really to develop your body, mind, and spirit.
The YMCA is located at 1325 West Street in Northwest DC and is open Monday through Sunday.
You know, Simon, I never realized how much history there is with the YMCA.
Absolutely, Mariah. Talking to Miss Tate and walking through that facility, I learned so much by being there. And believe it or not, she touched on a lot more, but I don't want to make the package even longer. But in all seriousness, it was an absolute wonder to talk to her. And another history fact I found out was that me being the basketball fan that I am, it intrigued me to find out that Elgin Baylor, who was a Lakers legend, he found out how to play basketball at the YMCA as well. Mm. And speaking of basketball sports fans, you're watching CTV News, and coming up on your sports page, a recap of some high school playoff action. Stay right there.
My name is Janice Hicks, and my son Jacob was hit and killed by a freight train when he was 16 years old in 2012. When the doctor finally came out and started to describe all the things that they tried to do to save him, but they weren't able to. In a split second, a distraction, and he's gone. I'm not sure that I will ever be the same person I was. Jacob was my whole world.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids right here in our own backyard are facing hunger every day? Without healthy food, it's harder to grow, to thrive, to feel their best.
The impact when children don't have enough to eat is tremendous, because when you're hungry and your basic needs aren't being met, you cannot learn.
Every child deserves to be fed. This is a problem we know how to solve. Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Breakfast in the classroom contributes to kids being more focused, which leads to higher grades, and simply just their well-being.
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Hey there, sports fans. It's finally time for your Thursday Sports Page.
High school girls basketball teams suited up last night for a chance to advance to the next round of the playoffs. The Lady Pumas were able to jump out to a lead to start the game thanks to plays like point guard Ayanna Hamilton taking the ball coast to coast for a layup, and this turnover by the Lady Tigers that led to an easy lay-in for Ayanna Quintero. The Lady Tigers did make some nice shots in the quarter, like this made three-pointer from guard Rihanna Dorsey that was nothing but net. And the Lady Pumas led after the opening quarter, 12-5. Switching gears to the second quarter, the Lady Tigers got into a groove offensively, making more shots like this one by Dorsey and this three hit by point guard Precious Natitibum. The Lady Tigers also had a nice defensive sequence as center Chiam Njawusi had a block on Hamilton to prevent a bucket. But the Lady Pumas still knocked down their shots in the quarter, such as this mid-range jumper from Quintero and this triple hit by shooting guard Layla Ba. And Wides held their lead going into halftime and beyond as they won the game 53-29. Meanwhile, over at Frederick Douglass High School, the girls basketball team matched up versus Crossland. The Lady Eagles got off to a hot start to begin the game as they went into halftime up 52-12 on the Lady Cavaliers. And Frederick Douglass never looked back and kept their lead, blowing out Crossland 82-31. The Lady Eagles' next matchup will be Gwynn Park tomorrow at 6:30.
Moving on to college hoops, the Bowie State men's basketball team fell to Fayetteville State last night 77-53 in the quarterfinal round of the CIAA tournament. The Bulldog season is now over and they will try again next year to capture the CIAA championship. And wrapping up sports, the UMD women's basketball team will take the court tonight versus Wisconsin. Tip-off is at 6 o'clock.
Well, as you may know, today is Leap Day, the extra day of February we get every 4 years. But did you know Leap Day is the reason our seasons come at the same time every year? It makes holidays fall at the same time and keeps farmers' planting and harvesting seasons in line. Leap Day is also the rarest day to be born, with only 5 million people celebrating a birthday today. Those people are called leaplings, so if you know a leapling, make sure you wish them a happy birthday today, or you won't get another chance for 4 more years.
Okay, for the leaplings. And now take a look now at our 3-day weather forecast.
Tonight there'll be clear skies, but enjoy it while it lasts. Tomorrow there's a chance of rain, but it will mostly be sunny with a high of 50 and a low of 41. Saturday temperatures will hit 55 degrees and a chance of rain increases to 70%. Sunday temperatures will reach a high of 62, getting us ready for spring. And calling all preschoolers, can you read in the dark or do you like green eggs and ham? Watkins Park Nature Center is hosting a Dr. Seuss birthday bash. Children and their adults can expect a morning filled with puppet shows, crafts, and of course, Dr. Seuss stories. This event takes place 10 a.m. until noon. For more information, contact the number on your screen. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow night at 4:30. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
I'm Isai Morales. As an actor, I've played many roles, but right now I'm speaking to you as a proud Hispanic American. You know, we need to protect ourselves from lung cancer. It's a leading cause of cancer death among Hispanic men and women. Growing up, I would hide my mother's cigarettes. Even as a child, I knew that smoking can cause cancer. So can just being around someone who smokes. But that isn't the only thing that causes this disease. Environmental factors like air pollution, chemicals, and even radon can also cause lung cancer. That's why we need to be better advocates for ourselves and our loved ones. If you're at risk, no matter your citizenship status, get screened for lung cancer. To learn more, speak with a healthcare professional or visit this website. Don't let the fear of lung cancer get in your way. Early